Hey, it's Ryan with QLZ. We are back in the green room today. We are talking to a band that James, you and I talked a little bit. That's you've got age ranges all over the place. You found
Mhm.
people from all over the place with everything. So you and Abigail are here from Waiting Abigail. How you both doing?
Doing
Doing
good, man.
good. How are you?
Good. So I know not. I don't always talk about the formation of bands much anymore because you can kind of always look a lot of that stuff up. But I know James and Abigail. I'm sure you want to jump in on this one too. But James, you're like, we've got age ranges all over the place. We've got reunions that have happened. We have family members that have joined on in. So, dude, give me the backstory on the band and how everybody came together, because to me, it's a rather unique thing.
Sure, I'll start just because chronologically it's kind of how it worked,
Mhm.
and then let Abby kind of tell about where she came in the mix. So, like a lot of people during COVID, everybody got a hobby, right? Some people are climbing rocks, some people are on a health kick. For COVID, for me, I had played in bands with two of our other band members, Laurie and Heather. We played in bands in high school and early college back in the late '90s, and I went to school and eventually kind of had to gracefully bow out of that band. They kept going for a couple more years. I didn't really play much guitar. I was a music major in school, so I actually was a band director for 18 years. Trumpet is my main
Nice,
instrument.
awesome.
Yeah, so I just in sixth grade when I started playing the trumpet in band class, I was like, man, I really like rock and roll, heavy metal. So kind of the three of us actually were all band nerds, and we kind of like Heather's our drummer. She's a power drummer, man, but she's a saxophone player from middle school and
Nice.
high school. So the three of us had played together when we were much younger, obviously. And during COVID, I just went and bought a guitar, started playing guitar again, and I picked up right where I left off. And it's funny because some of the EP, some people are like, "Man, it's got a '90s vibe." It has a '90s vibe because literally we just kind of like jumped back in where we left off. But yeah, the three of us were talking during COVID. And it's like, hey, let's get a band together. Why not? We're not getting any younger. Let's do this and see what happens. So we started jamming during COVID, and we had about 10 originals just kind of sitting there, and we're like, all right, what do we do next? We've got to find a singer. And so Abby was not the first attempt. Unfortunately, I wish she was, because it could have saved a lot of time. But we went into the studio. A great
Mhm.
producer, engineer down here, Alex Gerst at Empire
Yeah.
Sound. He really knows what he's doing, and we laid down the rhythm tracks and kind of did it backwards. I mean, we used our rhythm tracks. They were rough tracks, of course, but we used that to kind of audition singers and stuff. So, Abby, you can jump in and talk about our unsponsored
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Unsponsored. So, we met on Bandmix. It's like this app where you can find different artists,
Okay.
different instrument players, and everything to find a band. Because I wanted to find a band. I was working at Meals on Wheels with my boyfriend at the time, but I've always done like by myself type of work. So like I make pop R&B as well.
Okay.
Um, but I wanted to get in a band, so I was like, let me look on Bandmix, and James was there, and I auditioned by like songwriting. So I was like songwriting in the van, getting everything ready, and then the next step was flying me down there because I was in Houston at the time. I go to
Okay.
college at UT Arlington, so I'm here now, but I was in Houston for the summertime because this was in summertime. And he auditioned me kind of like with the band, getting to know the band, making sure that we like all get along. And then the last, I guess, test was going in the studio and seeing if like the sound designer liked my voice.
Mhm.
And he, I guess, right, James, he was like, thumbs up, thumbs up.
Yeah, Abby didn't. Abby kind of knew it, but it really was like the last step of her audition. You know what I mean? Because she had sent me some pretty reckless covers that I'd asked her to do. That's kind of
Yeah.
the
Nice.
vibe we were going for. I mean, we're not like trying to shoehorn ourselves into like a certain genre. Our songs actually sound quite a bit different than each other. Interesting.
Mhm.
But so I gave her some pretty reckless covers, and she had sent me a video of that. And I also was skeptical, to be honest, because I'm like, okay, she's 19. There's a lot of different versions of 19, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can be a very responsible 19-year-old, or you can't. But she, I mean, to her
Mhm.
credit, I wasn't really chasing her. She was very persistent. She's like, when is the band going to rehearse? When's the band going to rehearse? And I was kind of like, well, you're not in the band yet. But I didn't tell her that. But I was like, you're not in the band yet. But man, she wrote the EP as it sits, and you hear it today, is the result of her really getting the rough mix from me and saying, hey, really the major audition for this to get this gig is going to be to write lyrics, melodies, everything to these tracks. And she not only did it, she did it pretty quickly. Like she did those 4 songs in about 4 weeks. And then she was at home for the summer, like she said. So I was like, well, just keep going since you're plowing through these. We'll fly you up. You can do a rehearsal with the band. And if you're comfortable with it, go straight into the vocal booth and let's see what happens. And our sound guy was like, dude, I'll be able to tell you in like 10 minutes. Like, let her get in there and do the thing. And so she got in there and he was like, yep, you need to, this is the one. So she really, as it sits, the EP, and you listen to it, that's one rehearsal with the band, and then going right into the studio booth.
Yeah.
So Abby, is this your first band then? I know you said you did some writing on your own. So is this your first actual band you've been in?
I did little band things throughout middle school through high school, but it was more of like you pay to like get in this band school, and we would just rehearse like covers and things like that. So shout out to Mr. Dan. He was our like band teacher. But yeah, so I did that, but I wasn't like in a band where we all wrote together and kind of formed our own sound.
That's awesome. That's impressive then for you to come into this band, your first thing that's not, something like middle school. Because James, like you, I was a trumpet player for 3 years in middle school, did it a couple years in high school in jazz band. So that's kind of like where some of my love for music came from, was being in jazz band back in the day. And was there ever any decision to name the band anything else? Obviously, you said you had other singers you were auditioning. Was it like, okay, Abby is now in the band, it has to be called Awaiting Abigail? Or was that just like, we've got the name right away, or did it take a little bit of time?
It took some time.
Yeah, it's a really funny story, actually. So she tracked all of the vocal stuff in September of this past year, and then we did post-production in October and early November. But we were approached for our first show for was a blowout show. It's not a normal first gig. So the local promoter here was doing a women in metal showcase at Trees in Deep Ellum, and she kind of knew us. She really knew our drummer from a previous band or whatever, and she's like, man, I would love to give you guys a chance, like, because I shared with her, I was like, hey, I don't know if we'll be ready because it was in December, but here's some rough tracks. And she was like, oh my gosh, yes, would y'all open the show? And I said, of course we would. We'd be honored to open the show. So she's like, okay, I just need your information. I'm like, well, you have to help me name it before we go any further, which is partially kind of a joke. I mean, we actually named it, but I was like, what do you think about it? But I don't, it's a funny story, because Abby just one day, this was after like she was officially in the band. I mean, one day during practice, she just happened to say, yeah, my mom's a metalhead. And we're like, oh, tell us more, because all the stuff that and you can check it out. There's a bunch of stuff on her personal YouTube deal, and it's really good. It's R&B and it's pop. So we didn't really know, like, how's this all going to jive and how's this going to work? But anyway, she was like, yeah, my mom's a metalhead. And we're like, oh, do tell. So then she tells us, like, we've known her for like 6 weeks. She's like, yeah, I'm named after King Diamond's album, Abigail. We're like,
Anyway. My mom's a huge metalhead. She was like, from the beginning, she's like, you need to get in a rock band. You need to get in a rock band. So that's like, so she's really proud of me now with doing like shows and things. Because she always wanted me to do that. I think I kind of rebelled with doing the pop music, but now she's like super proud. She's like, yes.
Were you a rock fan growing up then, or did you not really dive in any rock music when you were growing up as a kid?
I really didn't. She would make me listen to like In Flames, and I like some of their songs, but I was never really a huge rock person. I guess because she listened to it so much. Because every time I was in the car with her, she would listen to it, and I would just put on my headphones and be like, no. But now I'm like, I love it. It's like, it's super fun.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the rock and metal community. It's good to have you. It's a very I think you'll find out it's a very welcoming community, James. I'm sure
No,
you know
yeah.
a lot about that as well. So, what's this been like then? Obviously, it's fun for me to talk to bands, to new bands, especially like end of 2024, which was not that long ago. Which is when
Mhm.
James, I know you said some of the info you sent me was when you got things rolling. So for Abby, how was it for you being in college, doing classes, being in a band, and James just getting this thing rolling overall? Abby, I'll let you take it from the perspective of being a college kid as well as in a
Yeah.
band. And James, let me know how it is from your perspective as well, like getting this band going and off the ground.
Yeah, so I guess it's a lot, but I really enjoy. I put the band first over college. Probably
Okay.
shouldn't, but
Hey, that's all
um,
right.
they
That's the
let
rebel
me like
mindset, though. That's the rock mindset, though. So
exactly because I'm
yeah,
like this is what's gonna help my career and stuff.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm a acting major, so they usually don't
Okay,
really care as long as it's like artistic stuff. So like touring, I wasn't able to do a show there because we're touring, but I'm like I don't care. Like it's a tour. Like I'm not gonna pass that up. But I really enjoy it. It's the balance, work life balance you have to do. I do have a lot of memorization, so it's just like putting that memorization and like practicing for shows and things like that. But yeah, I think it works kind of hand in hand. It's just again balance and also balance and sleep. That's a
yeah,
big one for sure.
For the rest of the band, Ryan, it was about when Heather and Lori and I kind of imagined this thing. It was kind of about like, okay, we all have lives now outside of this. It can't be a consuming deal, and also we wanted to work smarter, not harder. So
Hmm.
we weren't going to try to build a fan base by playing every weekend and doing. I mean,
mhm,
we did that when we were kids, and it was fun when we were kids, but we didn't really have much else going on. So we kind of had a pact that we wouldn't like oversaturate what we were doing, and like we were going to keep it fun and keep it all in perspective in terms of being able keeping our families happy and different stuff like that. So it has been interesting because we have turned down some stuff that like you kind of like when you turn some stuff down, you're like, I don't feel right doing this, but I
mhm.
don't have a choice because there's other things going on. We want to make sure we're keeping a good balance of
Hmm.
between our personal lives and what we're doing here. So that's it. Honestly, it hasn't really been a challenge yet. The only challenge has been that there's been some opportunities that it's like, well, no, that probably this is more important than burning everybody for a weekend on this deal. And so it's been very fun for us. Nobody's quitting their day jobs, and so it's kind of all in that vein in terms of getting it rolling.
Hmm.
That's good. Yeah, not getting burned out from it. Enjoy it. It's a nice thing, and it leads me to Bad Mind. It's the track that we're featuring from all of you next week, the Artist Spotlight feature that we do. And I know you've shared a little bit of with me a little bit behind the scenes info of the track, kind of a little bit of what it's about. But what do both of you want to tell me about this song, and for our QLZ audience to know about it?
Yeah, so it's just about like not letting your mindset ruin your day. Just trying to keep moving forward day by day. That's kind of the main portion of it. Like for anyone with mental illness or even just stress in general, I know everyone stresses out about things. It's just like to keep going, just do your best. It's all you can do. And yeah, that's about it.
She's a big mental, I mean, we all are, but she's
Hmm.
vocal about it. She's a big mental health advocate.
Hmm.
And I think it's really cool. It really resonates with a lot of people, not just that song that you're featuring, but all of them kind of have a little bit of that kind of vibe to the lyrics, even though the sound is different. But Bad Mind is kind of actually like a victory story because like
Yeah.
you
Cool.
overcome it, and at the end of the video, she writes on the mirror, "You're okay." It's like
Yeah.
that's more kind of like a victory type thing of it. But yeah, it's really resonated with people a lot because it's a song about mental illness, but not it doesn't make you don't feel bad after listening to it.
Yeah,
you feel
Hmm.
yeah,
you feel upbeat after listening to it.
Hmm.
yeah.
It's like a
To me, that's the
motivation.
Yeah, to me, that's the best kind of when you tackle mental health. I think, at least for me, that's kind of the best way I think to listen. Obviously, some people want, not everybody can have the upbeat songs depending on how they're feeling that day, and it's their music. But I feel like that's kind of the ones people have resonated with. So, do you have people messaging you like, "Hey, I was dealing with this. This came up to me," and we've had some bands in the past that are like, "I really opened myself up on certain songs, like really got vulnerable on things, and was afraid to
Mhm.
do it." And like the messages we've got from people, like, our DMs are flooded on Instagram, on Facebook, because people are like, "Thank you for doing this." Have you found any of that as well, where people are like, "Thank you for doing this. This is what I've been dealing with."
We've gotten a lot of input just for the very thing that I just said, that man, it's a heavy song, like, but very listenable to. And the message is positive. I mean, we all like listening to some hardcore dark stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun. Who can't like some of that? But yeah, the feedback has been very much like, hey, this is kind of a tough time that the world is going through a little bit. Like, political stuff is heated.
Mhm.
Internationally it's heated,
Mhm.
and after COVID, people are just not in great shape. Some people,
Yeah.
so, and it seems like anxiety is kind of the norm these days. So yeah, we have gotten a lot of positive feedback with that.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And I know the track that we're featuring next week, QLZ Artist Spotlights. You have an EP that's out there right now, but Abby, I'm sure you're going to find this out more about how the world of music works, and everybody always wants to know what's next, what's next, what's next. So, kind of, what does
Yeah.
this year look like for the band, for the summer? Kind of some shows. What do you want to do? What's kind of
Mhm.
your plan for music? I know EPs and singles seem to be the thing. Albums were such a massive thing for me as a kid.
Mhm.
James, I'm sure the same thing for you. So, what do you want to do with this band when it comes to music and shows this year?
Yeah, so we're doing a huge show in July. Whiskey A Go Go.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We're doing it with the LA Guns, which is like a huge deal. It's insane. We're doing a lot of other shows. I don't know which ones we can say right now, but we are
Okay.
doing a lot of different tours around the U.S. right now. We have a couple of songs that we do play live, but I haven't been recorded yet. So those are gonna come out. We have one that I actually put out like a while ago when I was doing my pop stuff. It's called Anxiety, and it's out on YouTube. I have a music video for that as well. But we just rockified it and made it super
Nice.
cool, super intense and fun. Um, but yeah, we have that one, and then we have another one that I song wrote to that we perform live. And yeah, we're just kind of, I think we're just trying to tour, get our name out there, show different audiences around the world.
Awesome.
And when she says tour, like, we're weekend
Yeah.
warriors. Like, we have,
Mhm.
we're not actually, like I said, school and jobs and stuff like that. But we do have something. Unfortunately, I can't announce it today, but it will be coming out soon. We have a little 4-day mini tour in Central
Mhm.
Florida.
Nice.
It's a pretty big deal in September. She mentioned the whiskey gig in July,
Mhm.
LA Guns on a Saturday night in LA with a new album out. I mean, that's gonna rage. It's
Yeah.
gonna be so
So
awesome.
cool.
And then we're doing a biker rally in
Yeah.
Flagstaff with Texas Hippie Coalition, Kingdom Come, and another collection of bands in September also.
Mhm.
Uh, Musically, I think probably what we'll do is it's funny because obviously not doing this since I was 19 or 20.
Mhm.
With the technology now, and our sound engineer, like the way that we're songwriting, we're just going ahead and songwriting like in the program, so like
Yeah.
literally when we share ideas and everything, it's already on a grid.
Mhm.
And what saved us a lot of time on the EP, this was like pre-Abby, but we just went in there with a click track that already had all the scratch guitars on there. And
Mhm.
Heather was able to just go right into, so we got a good thing going with our sound engineer and producer, which leads me to say we've got 2 new songs that we're performing publicly right now. And we've got 2 more in the hopper. We probably,
Mhm.
when we have 4, we'll just like go back into the studio and knock it out, because it really doesn't take us that long to, that was, maybe it was spread out over time, but that EP was
Mhm.
done in, maybe 4 days.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely.
I,
Go ahead.
she writes fast. We
Mhm.
write fast. It's just a matter of having time for the headspace. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it saves so much time, you know. And you talked about being in band and jazz band, so you understand. And you know, sometimes we've been asked this too before in interviews, especially me, like, so does that help tremendously, your previous experience and like being classically trained and all that stuff? And you'll be able to relate to this. It really does a lot, but sometimes it inhibits creativity a little bit. You know, like it's almost paralysis by analysis. Sometimes you get a little bit too critical or too, you know, it can cripple your. But that being said, you'll understand this. It's easy for me to lay out a grid and be like, I have, you know, imagine going into the studio and the engineer puts the jump drive in and he's already got all the choruses and verses labeled. It's all there. And I mean, it really kind of be integrating that into the songwriting process has really made it easy. And then we just send it over to Abby, or we have some of Abby's stuff that we're converting over to our sort of style. We call it the blender because we all like different stuff. I come from like everything from a hair metal background. We went from hair metal when we were kids to heavy metal to death metal and came out the other side in grunge. That was kind of when I bowed out. Heather, our drummer, she's done all those styles, but she likes Lady Gaga and Madonna. You know,
I love Lady Gaga.
Lori, the bass player, is a punk rocker. You know, so all of our ideas and all of us write. So it's really is a blender when we have a new idea. But yeah, to answer your question, definitely there'll be some new stuff this year. And it's just a matter of how much it is. You know, it'll be at least another EP.
Yeah. And the thing is, people want stuff so quickly now. And it's like, and I think a lot of bands you talk to, they're like, we would love to do an album, but does it make sense for us? Does it make sense to do a full length record? Or do we want to take, you know, a handful of songs, give them a lot of love, give them a lot of attention? And some bands are like, we're putting out 5 songs this year. We're doing a video for every song because we, you know, we'll stagger them out because you want everything to get the love for what they're doing. So more music videos for you guys on the way too. Is that something else you'd like to do?
Yeah, we have one more coming out, Falling Under. My boyfriend's in it too. He's playing an abusive like boyfriend. It's a super creepy, like, it's super funny. But he's like, it's like really creepy. It's giving like Coraline vibes. It's really fun. It's coming out in May, right, James?
Yeah, it'll be, I think it'll be, we're setting up a date right now with our, I guess, PR person. It's not like we have a big fancy operation here, but there's some strategy involved. Obviously, we don't want to step too much on bad mind, but like you were saying, like it's all about timing and keeping it rolling. But yeah, it's sitting in my Dropbox, man. It's so hard not to leak it. It's theatrical. It's completely theatrical in nature. So you see Abby and doing kind of the storyline in it, and you won't see any of the band members playing in there. You'll see her singing and, a little bit, but it's mainly theatrical, which is what she does. So that's really cool. It's a nice contrast to the Bad Mind video. But yeah, that's coming out at the end of April.
Awesome. So Abby, you get to act then too, because I know you're going to school for acting, like you said. So is this your music video acting debut, kind of like a little bit more kind of story about you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's super fun. I love it.
All right. I won't probe you too much on that, because I don't want you to be able to share anything you can't share at this point, but be able to be on the lookout for all that. And a question I have for every band that come on for the first time, obviously I'm a big album guy. Like I told you, I love still buy CDs, and Abby, I'm interested in, especially in your answer on this one as well, but some of your favorite complete albums, like start to finish, some of your favorite no skip records. I don't know, whichever one do you want to take this first, go ahead.
Do you need a second, Abby?
I do.
Mine's Master of Puppets.
Okay.
Master of
It's very popular, very, very popular one.
I can't skip one.
I do love Evanescence full album, her, like the one that made her famous, with, I can't think of the names of the songs. My Immortal and all of that. I forgot the name of the album.
Yep.
But yeah, that one's really cool.
I should know this off the top of my head because I was in high school when it came out. I can't think of it. Yeah, it was 2003 that one came out, because I think Fallen. I think it's Fallen. Yeah, they just celebrated the 20th anniversary of it a couple years ago. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious again with you being from the pop and kind of R&B world. You know, we interviewed. I think the guy. I don't know if you've heard of Return to Dust or not. I think one of the guys in the band shared Michael Jackson. I think was one of his favorite
Oh yeah.
albums last week. So everybody's a little bit all over the place. So if it doesn't have to be in rock and metal, it can be anything that you want. So
I also have
so if you got
another
any
one.
others, Mhm.
K through 12, Melanie Martinez. I love that album because she also made a movie around it too, which I thought was really
Okay.
like artistic. So that one too.
James, you can share more. I used to do when I lived in Wisconsin and ran a station up in Wisconsin. It was a blog post where we had people actually write it out, a blog post. The bands actually did it, and it's 5 albums. So do you have more than Master of Puppets? Obviously, Master of Puppets is a masterpiece, but if you have any more, feel free to share.
Yeah, I mean any of that era Metallica and Slayer stuff is just I don't skip tracks on that at all.
Yeah.
And then I mean you would get this, so like my other albums would probably be like some of the Count Basie big band stuff, you know, and as a trumpet player, Maynard Ferguson, like not necessarily the scream stuff from the 70s, but like the 60s stuff when he was playing in bars and everything. There's a Roulette collection, Roulette Radio, Roulette Records, that's like 12 albums. And man, you listen to that stuff and kind of like Buddy Rich, like both of those bands were just smoking back then. And yeah, man, I can put one of those records on and everybody asks. It's funny because Lars, I think, said not too long ago, it had a list of their inspirations and he put Miles Davis on there. And I was thinking, does he actually? I mean, because you kind of have to know why Kind of Blue is a significant album.
I believe that, not to interrupt you, but I believe that is on my shelf right next to me. I used to play trumpet when I was in middle school. I used to play trumpet to that song and try to match it. So I haven't played trumpet in years and years and years. It's been a long time, but that was the album for me. It was Kind of Blue that I really got into.
Kind of Blue, yeah. It's it's all over the place, but that's where it would be for me, man. I really like those LPs of you know, some of the big band, legit big band, you know, whether it be Basie or Kenton style. And then it sounds crazy, but then I mean, and also you mentioned Michael Jackson, dude. I remember getting Thriller like it's like for my second or third birthday party. Some kid showed up with that record, and man, I listened to every track on it. And I mean, I still like all those tracks. I don't listen to it regularly, but
yeah,
it's good stuff. Van Halen, 1984. You know. But
it's been a fun question to ask people because everybody's been a little bit kind of all over the place with it. I think John Connolly has seven dusted this for me years ago, and I think he had Jagged Little Pill from Alanis on there. That was one of his 5. Yeah,
dude, I love that stuff, and I don't even know if Abby knows it, but I'll listen to some of that and also some Avril, and I'm like, we actually could totally do that. A heavy version of any of that stuff would be great. Like cover material, you know, we're not a cover band obviously, but we throw a cover on for a show, you know, like one.
Yeah, and once you get more material out there, until you get more material out there, you find some stuff to rockify and do the things yourself. So again, some cool shows coming up from all of you, more music, plug your socials, website where everybody buy merch from all of you, follow on the socials so you know what's going on with the band.
Yeah, we're on everything.
Yeah, you go ahead.
We're on everything, and so you can hit us up on Facebook, on Instagram. It's all Awaiting Abigail. You know, Google us. We should come up. We've gotten. I mean, we've been surprised like how much love we've gotten in such a short period of time, and we're very thankful for that. But yeah, we're on X. Our website is waitingabigailband.com. That's got links at the top that'll take you to everything. It'll take you to merch, take you to our shop, take you to. Yeah, exactly. It'll our schedule, and if you sign up as like a VIP, it takes you through like a little history of it features a member at a time. It doesn't spam you or anything, but like every month you can get like a little bio of the next band member or whatever, and options for different types of show release. You know, find out a smidge before everybody else about some of our surprise stuff. But yeah, we're pretty much everywhere. Like I was telling you offline, we are just the victims of being a little bit behind the social media curve. And you know, I'm sorry about it, but I'm actually not sorry about it because I mean, we had no idea it was going to take off like it did. It's all good problems. Like every problem that we have right now is a good problem.
Yeah.
So,
That's a-
but yeah, so some of our social medias, it's like, man, they look like they just threw it together because we just threw it together, like
Yeah.
right before we got on the call with you. Yeah.
No, it's good. You gotta have like 7,000 jobs now in a band. It's crazy everything that's
It
kind of out
is.
there right now. All the different things that you got to do. So next Thursday, April 10th, Bad Mind on QLZ Artist Spotlight 8:30 in the morning. And James, Abby, I appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedule, especially Abby with you in college and right
Thank
right
you.
after class and everything. So appreciate you both being here.
Thank you for having us. We really
Thank you for
appreciate
having us.
it.
Really, really appreciate it. And love your show, and what you're doing for the bands out there is great. So we really appreciate it.
Mhm.